We going in?
We are in, boys.
Yeah. All right. Hello and welcome to the end of this week's catabolic window. We are currently waiting on Dan to join the recording. But whilst we wait for him, Luke, how's your week been going?
Bro, you bottled that so hard.
Yeah.
That was horrific.
Yeah.
My week is all good, bro. So what I've been up to, I've been revising for uni. So like 2 hours of that a day. I'm actually learning some of the stuff, so that's quite nice. Been working on some stuff for the business, 3 setups this week, and then trained with Tommy T, Ben Henson, Keno. I always forget his name is actually Jack. It weirds me out every single time.
That's my name.
And Mr. DP Fit himself. Bro, I used, did you see the True Squat I used?
No.
Oh, look at the video on my story. It's so weird, but it's so nice.
I've never found a true squat that feels really nice. Like there's one at my gym over in the south of England, but it's just so easy to load. You know, it's so easy.
I had a 10 aside on.
Oh shit. Did you find it was particularly quad focused?
Oh, bro, it was quad savagery.
Calm.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you can like slingshot up the first couple of reps, and then it creeps up on you proper fast. Like the last 3 reps were hurting a lot.
To be fair, you did Smith and then you did true squat.
Yeah, I just wanted to try it because I did like a couple of reps with nothing, and I'm like, oh, this feels nice. Yeah, I crossed the 100 kilo barrier on Smith squats, and then Ben's doing 4.5 plates. I'm like, oh, cool. Nice.
Yeah, but mechanical tension, bro, not load. Come on now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you're stronger, but I have more mechanical tension. So.
Well, no, we were literally saying this in the group chat because he did that 100 kilo for 8. 80 deadlift.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were ripping him and like, oh, what are you gonna do? Smith squats 2 plates for 100 or something like that. And I chimed in and go, yeah, that's my working weight, so I'll do Smith squats with. And Ben responds and it's like, for fuck's sake, your quads are bigger than mine as well.
That's so peak, bro. I'm so sorry.
Legit.
Right, Jack, how is...
Over to you, bro.
Oh shit. So I've got a couple final essays to write out, which is one of them is reviewing a coach. So we're all very practiced at that. We do that constantly in the group chat. And then the other essay is...
Have we ever given a good review in the group chat?
No. But that's because we don't share good stuff in the group chat. We only share someone being a melon and we'll be like, what a melon.
Okay, good review. Our first good review. Tommy T, good review. Bosh.
Yeah, Tom's great. But that's why, why share one of his posts in the group chat? We'll all just be like, yes, this is good. And we'll just be like, yes. We'll share it and we'll give us a thumbs up emoji and that'll be that.
I'll message Tom and see if he comes on. If nobody ever sees him on the podcast, it's because he can't and said no.
You just throw him under the bus like that.
Yeah, basically.
My other essay is writing a prep timeline for training, nutrition, and a program for a boxer, which is exciting. Other than that, I've got 2 sign-ups this week. So clearly I'm slacking behind Luke. Yeah, buddy. And then other than that, yeah, just head down on the business, bro. Head down on the business. Yeah, I got some cool testimonials, got some cool transformations in the works, which is always exciting.
Fair. John?
Yeah, I've wrapped up this last week of uni, as you all saw and replied, my highest interactive post in a while. I had my last exam on Friday, which went okay. A few things came up that I didn't expect, but other than that, it went pretty well. But now it's time to kind of remove myself from that uni mindset and try to adapt back to normal life a little bit.
Yeah, right. That was a quick wrap. So basically, Dan is the one that takes forever to do the week because it normally takes us 15 minutes.
Yeah, because what is there to say? Especially if your main job is if your career is coaching and there's not much that changes. It's just I sign some people up. Other than that, I coach everyone else.
You're making it big time now. Can you hire a fucking cleaner, please?
Fuck you. I blur my background on consultation calls because of this mess. This is
no, you don't.
Yeah, I do. This is all my girlfriend's mess. Everyone breathe. Everyone, just like let's just breathe that in. Let's just.
Can you not just angle the camera a different way?
How's that? Like what? How else am I meant to angle it? More mess.
Dual
Right.
screen setup.
Should we dive into a topic?
We don't have
In
the
fact,
readable.
This
Actually,
is the question.
I
This is the question. First up, let's reverse the format. Did we?
Oh,
Yeah. Surprise thing. Okay. Question. How would you guys deal with traveling and training? Say you go on holiday for a couple of weeks or away from the usual routine.
right. We need an order for who's tackling these first. Luke, are you going to be asking the questions?
I just asked one. John, go first.
Yeah. All right. Whoever asks the questions, pick someone to go first.
Yeah, that's a good shout.
So traveling around training and stuff.
Yeah.
So there's only really been one instance
For an
where I've-
extended period of time, like not just a couple of days or a week, like 2, 3, 4.
See, I've not really been in a position where I've gone away for a certain, or like let's say a month or like 3 weeks. I've not really taken that much time away from just being at home or away from training. Not out of I'm just this sad, lonely hobbit that sits in his house and eats food and trains. Just I don't like being away from my normal living situation for that long period of time. But there has been one instance where I've been when I was still powerlifting, where I had to continue my prep even though I was on holiday, which
Oh shit.
being a 16-year-old quite naive powerlifter, I didn't really give a fuck. So I just ate whatever I wanted and I just enjoyed my time whilst I was there. Yes, I had a couple drinks, but it was almost strategic in the way it was, because it was 3 weeks out or something. So if anything, it was just a nice wash off of a lot of fatigue that I'd built up. But I think if I were to, the way I'd approach it now, so I would guess better answer the question, I would sort of just take a fucking break. if I'm completely honest, my life doesn't, not my life, my career doesn't necessarily depend on me performing well in the gym. I mean, as much as I'd like to continually progress, it's not the end all and be all of my life. So if I were to go away for a month, yes, I may go to the gym a few times whilst I am away. I'll certainly stay conscious of my food because it is a prolonged period of time, but I wouldn't necessarily track it. But my physique goals aren't as important to me as having a good time is. So that's how I would approach it.
Fair. I think if you're 100% with John, if you're okay with taking the time off, if you're okay with what that means, it's the same for any advice, right? Like, if you're okay with taking the time off, you're okay with the implications of that, go for it. If you're not, then don't. If you're going to choose to train while you're on holiday, I would try and take your program and try and pick like for like movements. So if we're doing a press that's for the upper pecs, something inclined, let's keep that as an inclined press, or ideally just a press. If we're going to do a bicep curl, keep it a bicep curl. If we're going to do a tricep exercise, keep it a tricep exercise. So it vaguely flows. You might want to train less, just so you've got more time to be out the gym and enjoy yourself. And then in terms of food, again, it's kind of like with anything, right? Try and keep it as close to routine as possible, but making sure that you fall along where you personally draw the line of what is good balance. If you are say if Luke went on holiday, he would probably, if he went on holiday for a month, or to be fair, if I went on holiday for a month, we probably eat the exact same food and do the exact same training, but that's not stressful to us. That's perfectly okay. And to us, that's enjoyable. Whereas to you, you might want to switch things up a bit, or you might want to go and just kind of vaguely train to stay fit, or vaguely eat to stay fit.
We'd be more stressed if we had to just throw a meal together on the fly, or not know when we're going to be able to go and train, because this has just become our normal.
Yeah.
Another good thing to point out as well is that the amount of work that you need to do to maintain where your physique is currently at is way less than what it took you to get there.
Yeah, exactly.
Whether that be days in the week, or just how much attention you need to pay to your nutrition. if you're trying to get pretty damn lean, you need to be really diligent with your nutrition. If you're trying to maintain where you're at, you've got a lot more flexibility there.
Yeah, like, and again, like, it's kind of like I said before, it depends where you are and what your priorities are. Like Luke said, or like John said, if you just want to take a step back from training, calm. If, like Luke said, if you want to maintain, calm. Or do you want to push on and make progress? That's going to dictate how seriously you take things. And then you're also going to have to decide, you know, how sane do I want to be and what's going to be stressful to me and whatnot. But stick as close to your plan as you can while still achieving the goals that you want without going insane, basically.
But if they have a good bakery wherever you are, definitely indulge in the bakery.
Yeah, just eat pastries.
I remember every time I go on holiday, like the first thing we do is like little trip to get some stuff for wherever we're staying. And that bakery, mate, you walk in there and it's like, I want to just eat everything. It's Little Bakery is unreal.
I live near a Little.
Didn't I say, like, I put something like never go there when you're dieting or something like that? And John, you were like, are you cutting? You said, was that you? I swear you said that to me. No?
What was that? Sorry, repeat
Little
that.
Bakery. I was like, never go to Little Bakery when you're cutting.
That might not have been me.
I've said never go shopping when you're hungry, but
maybe it's some other like bearded wizard that I know. Okay, 2 questions I've stolen from another podcast. Well, 2 different podcasts that are way bigger than us. So, yeah. You can only have 2 things in your gym bag for the rest of your life. What are they? Like, as in 2 things completely. Like, you can't say like, 2 things for push day or 2 things for legs or whatever.
I know straight away.
Knee sleeves.
Oh yeah, straps and knee sleeves. They're like the 2.
Fuck, straps. The
go-to items that you ever need. You literally don't need anything else. You don't need wrist straps because let's be real, who the fuck's pressing enough to need wrist straps unless you're a powerlifter? I mean, unless you're a jack in the gym, fucking maxing out the dumbbells that are in the gym.
I don't use them on dumbbells anymore because it was cutting the circulation off to my. I was going to say my grippers, my hands grippers.
Luke, would you say anything different, or is straps and knee sleeves staying for good?
Condom and birth.
Strap and knee sleeve gang.
Does a logbook count?
Oh shit! Am I allowed? Oh, do I have to pick my phone over them?
No.
I'm picking my phone then. I'm not bringing a logbook. I'm picking my phone. I'd rather have the knee sleeves or the straps.
Bro, I can't remember what I did 3 hours ago, let alone what I did last week in the gym.
Just write it down in your notes on your phone.
Just remember, bro. Just remember
the Keithy West approach. Just 10 plates for 12. We'll go 10 plates for 20 this week. Aggressive. That was a terrible accent. I'm so sorry. If anyone knows Kif, or if Kif is watching, I love you. Jesus, man. I hope I don't get rinsed for that.
Straps would have to be number 1.
Yeah, 100%.
I would love to test it out for a few weeks, seeing like how well I can do squat patterns without knee sleeves and the amount of pain that I may or may not get.
Mate, you need elbow sleeves. That's what you fucking need. Christ.
No, I don't get it when pressing. It's literally just tricep stuff. Like, I don't really get it when dipping either. It's just tricep isolation shit. Yeah, it just hammers me.
Mad. Even like higher rep ranges.
Yeah. If I stay just short of like full extension, it's not so bad. Because if I sort of go through that range now, I get to about here, and then my hand wants to go like that. And obviously most machines don't really facilitate that, if you get what I mean.
That's mad. My hand does not do that at all.
Yeah, it's fucking weird, man.
Can you not able to the neutral grip? That's crazy.
Are you not able to
I can hold it, but I can't really get all the way there without it fucking feeling really awful.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
Pardon?
Oh.
No, I was gonna say, is a lot of your tricep work, is it a lot of elbow stay stationary, or is the elbow allowed to move quite freely?
Only dips, really. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I've got press down, which is probably going to move a little bit. I've got demi shoulder flex, but it's like 45 degrees because overhead stuff was mashing them up.
Yeah, same.
It's not like other arm is there to support. It's just other arm is there to cue to not move the fucker. If you know what I mean. And that seems to be okay. I'm saying that's why I've got shit triceps.
Have you tried that old tactic of like squeezing a ball in your hand? Like people do on lateral raises to reduce shoulder pain.
No, I haven't, to be fair.
Have you heard about the thought process behind that?
Not really.
Basically, I know people do it for laterals. I think the same applies for anything like arm based, but the idea is if you're performing a lateral raise, some people get elbow pain, shoulder pain when they're using a cuff because there's nothing in their hand gripping. When we grip, there's a bit of a nervous system response supposedly to holding something that increases our stability at that joint, and increased stability generally helps with force production and not getting injured. So I would hazard a guess, and there's a lot of people out there like Kuba, I know, is a big fan of gripping something as tight as possible for no shoulder pain when he does laterals. So, and he's a big proponent of it. So maybe try gripping something like a hockey ball or a handle or something if you're doing anything bicep or tricep related, and just see if that helps.
I can give that a bit. Normally when I'm doing laterals, to be fair, I like grip my thumb like that, if that makes sense.
Oh, now you fucking, I'll be worried about dislocating it. Like,
nah, it's all good.
Hook gripping your left.
Do you know what I saw the other day? I saw Brian Shaw fold a frying pan, like roll it up.
In person or online?
No. That's
because I've seen that online, like it's mad, but how have you not already seen that, bro?
Well, I just saw it the other day. Yeah, so we're all going with straps, and then probably knee sleeves for another item, maybe a logbook, but you could probably do without that.
I'd rather I'd like longevity out of training. You could get more out of knee sleeves than a logbook.
Yeah.
That's what
I think I just have to keep my numbers proper simple, like just do same way for every set.
Nah, just write it in your, I mean, I guess, but just write it in your phone. Could you not just do that?
Yeah, but it just annoys me.
Yeah, it would be annoying, but I'd rather have big back and legs.
At least we're not proper TikTok warriors for saying tripod.
Tripod.
Have you, why is deload such a controversial topic on TikTok?
Is it? Did you make a post?
Bro, it's ludicrous. Like, you post something about deloads and you get like 6 people. Deloads are such an overrated concept. If you train with appropriate volume and intensity, you'll never need a deload in your life.
Never. Never.
Like, what?
Progression is linear. Let's just remember that.
Yeah, the only thing stopping you from your goals is that you simply just haven't continued to add a rep, bro. The thing that I don't get, right, is that argument of you don't need a deload if you manage your training correctly, if you manage your volume and intensity. Well, guess what? A deload does. It manages your volume and intensity. You just don't like the label of calling it that. You know, I guarantee those people are like, oh, you're feeling quite tired. Okay, half intensity or RPE6 or half volume. And they'll be like, yeah, okay, we're just going to, I don't know, call it whatever they want, but that's a deload or a devolume. I
love when powerlifters put like the load at like RPE and it's just fucking blatantly not that close to failure. Yeah. I love that. It's my favorite thing. I'm trying to get it up because this guy's comment was like absolutely ludicrous.
Bodybuilders do the inverse. They'll be like, yeah, really good set to failure here. And the last concentric is just like full speed, but their face is like, it's all facial contortion.
Yeah.
Mate, I got hate on I don't want to get too much into this, but I got hate on one of my TikToks about the Chris Bumstead one, which I anticipated hate, but not in the way that I got it. Ooh. Did you see? I know Johnson.
I love big words, momentum.
Yeah. So for anyone who doesn't know, I made a TikTok and a reel about me commenting on Chris Bumstead's back day and how I would make changes if I were to coach or if anyone were to. Basically, the point of it is you're going to try out this back day and you're not Chris Bumstead, here's probably how you should do it, right? And I put up that reel on Instagram and TikTok, and someone tagged a different coach, being like, what are your thoughts? And that coach said something along the lines of, and I'm definitely paraphrasing here, and I think, to be fair, he just didn't watch my video, because he's like, lad clearly doesn't know what he's on about, trying to use big words to confuse people and sound like he knows what he's on about, but really, but he's not. So I sent it into the group chat and I was like, what big words did I replied to him as well. I was like, what big words did I use? Because I'm not going to take criticism lying down. Like if I have fucked this up, then I want to redo it. And if I haven't, then that's unworthy criticism. So I responded being like, what big words did I use? I put it in the group chat and John replied being like, I watched it. The biggest word you used was momentum. Like,
Yeah, bro, that was gold.
You don't even need to know scientifically what momentum is. Just the concept of momentum, everyone understands, right? Like
it's like one of the most commonly like accepted terms that everyone sort of understands.
Yeah,
You may not necessarily get it down to the T, but everyone sort of understands momentum.
If you tell someone,
let's be real.
Yeah, if you tell someone to like lift without momentum, they're going to get where you mean and what the kind of along the lines that you said. I think I said something like lift with more control and less momentum by going slower, something like that. Because I've only got 60
That's
seconds.
really complex, mate.
Exactly. I've got
like
60 seconds.
You need an IQ of like 10 to understand that.
But a lot of it was like me being like, Chris should probably do this, but he's Chris Bumstead. You know, like I don't expect Chris to actually take what I've said, but I expect people who try Chris's back workouts to do what I said more than what Chris does, because let's be blatant, a lot of the people at the top don't train fantastically. They train good enough to get to where they are, but in general terms, for most gym people, you shouldn't copy what they're doing.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
My favorite way to sort of get momentum, like what is momentum and what it feels like across to people, is if you get like a lat pull down or something like that, it's usually like a 1-to-1 cable stack, and you say to somebody, yank this as hard as you physically possibly can and feel how light it is. Oh, doesn't even feel like I've lifted anything. Okay, now do a 5-second concentric. Ow, that really hurt.
Yeah, dumbbells are a good example. Smith machine, throw the machine up versus pressing it.
Yeah, especially because it's on that fixed path where it's like there's no chance of it going in a different direction. It just flies.
Yeah.
Fair. Another one I stole. Good form, over or underrated?
Is good form overall underrated?
Yeah.
Bro,
overrated, underrated, good form.
That's such a bizarre question. That's so abstract.
Well, no, I stole the concept. This was my idea after just watching people in the gym, like just do some stupid stuff.
Right. John?
It's underrated shit. I've seen some atrocious lateral raises recently go. This gym that also has these 20-pound increments, by the way, which, I'm going to divert from this question for a second, but excuse me, why do you have 20-pound increments on your machine? It just baffles my mind.
Like a cable stack.
No, I've got to do some MacGyver stuff that Jack's recommended to actually add weight and actually micro load this machine instead of adding a gym pin, which, by the way, sponsor us. Anyway, I think it's underrated as shit, the amount of people that I see just, again, using a shit ton of momentum and not really caring what the rest of their body is doing.
100%.
Throw the ting.
If I have to pick one, I guess underrated, but the coach in me wants to be like, let's pull this apart. But if I have to just quickly answer, underrated. Most people lift like shit. I'd rather see more people be anal with form, because the majority of the lifting population are absolute fucking, I don't know, they mong it about. And I'd rather see people be too anal than mong it about too much.
Just before I forget, John, can you send me a photo of this machine? Because I'm just genuinely interested.
I'll take a picture next time.
And just the thing is, the people that aren't like don't care about their form also don't train to failure. So it's like, what are you actually taking to failure? It's definitely not the target tissue. It's more likely your ability to inhale air or something else that you're using to generate a load of force.
Your ability to inhale air.
Yeah, man.
There's I don't know if you boys see it. I see it quite often now that I'm at more commercial gym rather than the uni gym, but it's the Kim Kardashian push downs, where for some reason these guys are doing massive glute spreads. Oh my god, glute spreads like the wellness or bikini girls. And doing a tricep push down. Like I don't know. Yeah, their back is like that.
Oh,
I don't know. I don't know if there's some secret behind this, but like it really does fascinate me.
Well, if you're doing them with your torso a little bit more bent over, your shoulder's going to be in a more flexed position, because like your upper arm is still going to be pretty much straight in line with the cable, whereas like standing straight up.
Yeah,
So
if you lean over the weight more, you put more weight forward, you're using your body weight almost to counterbalance that force upwards by pushing down on it. You kind of turning it into like a cable dip, I guess, would be like the closest thing.
Fair. Why are we killing topics so quickly today?
Oh, because they're fucking shit, right?
I thought that was funny.
We need Dan's waffle.
Yeah, literally, we're just cleaning up.
Okay, so we've already covered how to manage training and food being on the holiday. Okay,
Should we not? Should we do the food relationship?
Oh my god, yes, that's such a good idea. I'm gonna edit out all of that shit. Let's talk about Luke. What was your question, and who is it brought to us by?
It wasn't a question, it was just something I thought about.
Oh, all right then. Well, it wasn't brought to you. It wasn't invented by you, mate.
Yeah, I actually invented this topic. Nobody's ever heard about this before I started speaking about it. So we're gonna invent this one. So, boys, I think a good place to start this discussion is any problems we've had with our relationships with food.
Oh, mate, I think I'm me or John. I think we're the worst for it. I've definitely had my moments.
Jack, you baited yourself out there. Go on.
What with relationship with food?
Yep.
So, I think, to be honest, the hardest time that I had in terms of my relationship with food wasn't, and I say this kind of for anyone, and it's something that I pay attention a bit more to now with clients. Not necessarily dieting, the end of the diet and transitioning out of a diet, I think is harder and worse for your relationship with food than the actual diet itself. Dieting is quite straightforward. It's quite easy. Pick the lower calorie option if you're going to go out. Yes, there's obviously the chance to, that's when relationship with food may strain because we're trying to watch calories. We're being a little bit more dialed in potentially. But when you're towards the end and you're used to dieting and food is something viewed as something you really desire and you really want, like watch earlier episodes of me in the podcast where I'm like super food focused. If you have that desire where like food is all you think about and now your calories are going up, it can be really easy to overindulge or to over restrict yourself out of a fear of overindulgence. One thing that I do a lot now with people, if I notice from the way they're talking or just generally kind of get a call on them and make sure things are okay, but towards the end of the diet, start of a reverse, I will probably have them maintain and I might strip back their nutrition just to protein and calories, or I might introduce more frequent untracked meals, give them a period of just maintenance, greater flexibility, just to show them that they can indulge, teach them that they know how to indulge safely, and the indulgence isn't going to make them fat. Because a lot of people come out of a diet scared to get fat or binging or whatever. And I've been all of those things. I've been that person that was over restrictive, terrified of eating even a calorie over because I get fat. And that person who just loved food so much that he binged on 11,000 calories and was still hungry. And so you don't want to be either of those people. And I'm dieting in 3 weeks, and rest assured, I'm going to make sure my relationship with food doesn't suffer because I've learned.
Yeah, I had a client message me the other day. He was like, oh, I've really messed up. Like I went out to watch the football and then I got a medium Domino's or something like that when I came back. I'm like, well, it wasn't a large, it wasn't an extra large. So well done there. And also you're at maintenance now. Like this is the time where you're going to have more flexibility to enjoy these things. I don't expect you to be a fucking robot 24/7. Like it's not gonna happen. And what is the quote unquote extra body weight that we've gained? It's not all body fat. Like one pizza is not 7,000 calories, much to how hard Domino's are currently trying to get it there. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like extra food volume, different levels of sodium and all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I think giving people a space to like Luke mentioned, with giving people maintenance and showing them that, okay, basically you can have a medium Domino's and your body weight may come up, but then it might hold there, it might come down. At the end of the day, you're going to look in the mirror and you're going to look at those check-in photos, and you're going to, look and see the exact same person or an improved physique. And I think especially this kind of, maybe I'm tying this a bit too much into body dysmorphia, but say if you've got someone who's 80 kilos and they diet down to 75, now when they're pushing back up and they hit 75 again, they tend to feel worse at that same body weight, because it's like, oh, I'm gaining weight, I'm gaining fat now, and I'm 5 kilos up, rather than having that more optimistic view of like, I'm 5 kilos down from 80, if you know what I mean. Oh, Luke's muted.
No, I was gonna jump in. I was just trying to get my headphones to work. So what I was gonna say was, this is the same guy as well. Me in his check-in, he was like, so I've been at maintenance for a couple of weeks now, and I don't know whether it's placebo, but I feel like my physique is getting better. It's like, yeah, you're in a much better environment for your physique to improve, because you're not in a caloric deficit, you're training better. What do you think is going to happen, man? Of course it's going to get better.
Yeah, like I say to people, like, if you lift, I'm going to use a very fancy word in this sentence. So if anyone doesn't understand me, DM me. If you lift with minimal momentum, sorry if that went over your head. If you lift with minimal momentum and your lifts increase and your body fat, your scale weight is staying the same, those increases of strength over time have to come from somewhere. That somewhere is going to be an increased amount of muscle mass. And if body weight is staying the same, for muscle mass to increase, body fat has to be coming down. Again, yes, there's going to be fluctuations in fluid. Yes, there's going to be fluctuations in just, what's inside of you food-wise and just how much force you're exerting downwards. But the long and short of it is, over an extended period of maintenance, you can be 80 kilos and 80 kilos and look fairly different. Yes, bulking and cutting is quicker, but still, like Luke said, it's possible for someone in maintenance to look better at the end than they did at the start. It's entirely possible.
With me, it wasn't so much like, after prep, I was very almost scared to take it overboard, if that makes sense. Like, I remember literally the second day after, like, I woke up, had my normal breakfast, I went out for a pizza, and it was very much like regimented. Everything has to be regimented. If I don't eat the same meals every day, like, it's all gonna go wrong, sort of thing. And like, understanding, like, having a meal that you don't track, you don't really know what's in it outside of this is probably going to be a few more calories than what I would usually have, and see, oh, I'm a bit heavier. But then over the next couple of days, funnily enough, that scale weight comes down, because unless you've done an 11,000 calorie challenge, it's not all going to be body fat.
Yeah.
So yeah, like that, I think that can be a really useful learning tool as well, is like stepping on the scale and seeing what's going on. And of course, you're not going to want to step on the scale after you've eaten more food, because what does that tell you? Oh, you probably did something that is going to have a quote unquote negative impact on what you're doing. But it's all down to the frequency in which you do that and how much of an extent it is. Like, if it's one meal every 2 weeks, it's probably not going to have too much of an impact. If it's every day, then yeah, you probably need to sort your shit out.
Yeah, I think given someone, if you're concerned about your relationship with food, I would say simplify your tracking just to calories and protein. Don't be afraid to embrace more flexibility. Give yourself room in a maintenance phase to see that being more flexible doesn't necessarily result in you being any worse off. And also, if you're concerned about scale weight or anything like that, it's going to vary person to person. With this advice, I would say, if it helps you, go for it. If it doesn't, don't do it, obviously. But I find with most people, not everyone, that having them weigh in daily does desensitize them to that value. And you see that it does fluctuate. Whereas if you do it less frequently, you're looking for the changes. Whereas if you do it every single day, it's like brushing your teeth. You kind of just forget, like, what it was. It's just a number or whatever. But for some people, that can make it more of a big deal. That can make it make or break your day. And again, when it comes to like scale weight management or anything really overarching in mental health, if you are genuinely struggling, us three aren't going to be the most useful resource for you. Do go to someone who is a bit more specialized. But if you're, if anything we say does help, then obviously do it.
Yeah, like the first couple of times you do it, it's a very sort of emotional stimulus, like looking at, like, oh, this is how much I weigh. And for some people, they very much attach their self-worth to it. And over time, you get to a point where it's like, oh, this is an interesting piece of information. Cool.
Yeah, I think probably taking that attention people put on that and moving it to something else, like training performance. Training performance really is key, and training quality, and that's more important than what your body weight is, because regardless of the phase, if performance is going up, we're heading in the right direction. So yeah, I think moving that focus that you've had to something else can help.
Yeah, like I had someone say to me, like, I want to get stronger. I want to have more energy on a day-to-day basis. Cool. Like that's going to require at least being somewhere near maintenance or a small surplus. Like it's not going to happen in a deficit. If you're going to try and like reverse diet, that's something that gets like flagged a lot in the industry now, which I don't necessarily think is a bad thing, because outside of very, very specific circumstances, it's not going to really help, because it's not like you're feeling any better. You're not going to be getting any stronger. You're not going to be getting more energy because you're still in a deficit, and you're also not going to be losing any body fat because you're in a smaller deficit than what you were just in.
Yeah, to be fair, touching on what you said, I think it could be cool if you're at the end of a cut and you're approaching a gaining phase or a maintenance, maybe write down why you're ending the cut and what your goals are. Be like, oh, I want to get stronger, I want to have more energy, I want to get heavier. Write yourself down these little goals, and then when if you're feeling a little bit low about your gaining phase, just remind yourself of why you ended the diet. Like, appreciate that now you're happier, you're healthier, you're still lean. Look at maybe where you started the diet. You might be like, oh, I'm 8 weeks into a gaining phase, I feel kind of fat. Well, look at where you started dieting from compared to now and then. It still looks like an insane transformation. I think once you've touched lean and that's your baseline, and you've been used to that mindset of dieting and food, it can be hard to break that. So do remind yourself why you're doing it. And again, the maintenance, give yourself room to kind of have a bit of flexibility and see that it doesn't hurt.
Yeah, something like you mentioned there about sort of simplifying the whole tracking stuff, so there's not so much to focus on. Like, if you're getting your protein in, if you're getting your calories in, like those are the biggest rocks there to focus on for sure, and giving yourself some options, because I think a lot of people can get stuck in like I can only eat these things. It's like, if I get 40 grams of protein from chicken or beef, does it really matter? No, probably not. There might be a tiny bit more fat in the beef, but it's probably going to be fat that's better for me than what's in the chicken. So it's like, it's by no means not the end of the world. Like, calories are sort of the big rocks there to deal with as well. And John, you mentioned something in the group chat about sort of how we, I guess, manage our food, and sort of how we like have it put together to help us stay on track. Do you want to expand on that one a little bit more?
You're gonna have to enlighten me a bit more about what I said.
The fridge and the shelf.
Oh, the fridge and the shelf. So my sort of process on my way of thinking about what best like visual example can explain someone's relationship with food, and that's looking at what's on your shelf. And it's like, I know Jack mentioned earlier, is that I can't keep many things in the house that I know that I'm going to binge on. So my shelf, honest to God, at the minute consists of my protein that I eat daily, the beetroot, and a protein yogurt bar. That's currently all that's on my shelf that I own. And for me, that is necessary, not necessarily to stop the binge, but to make sure I'm on track, because there's a whole another level of effort where, yes, there's a shop down the road, but it's like my fridge is right there. It's got what I need to hit said macros that have been set for myself. But I think as well, if you're able to see that there's a lot of snacks on your shelf, like, I don't know about you, Luke, but if you find that you've sort of got that self-control and you have a somewhat healthy relationship with food, I think depending on your goal, it can be somewhat of a marker to dictate like how well you're progressing. I mean, that's obviously not the end all and be all of measuring progress, but I think there's definitely something to be said about what is available to eat, not only in your fridge but in your kitchen as well. At the same time, to stop said binges, or if you're overly attached to Oreo donuts like I am, just don't keep them in the house, first of all. But I don't know if you boys agree at all.
Yeah, so every time I pull open the freezer, to get something out of my freezer drawer, whether that be berries, whether that be some cooking that some chicken that I'm going to cook or whatever. I literally see a pot of like Haagen or salted caramel. I'm like, oh, cool, nice. I'll have that at some point. But it's not really something that I'm particularly worried about, if that makes sense. So I can see that in there, but like I can store stuff without too many concerns, but I usually just have what I need because it's what I have on a regular basis, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
Before we move on from like the whole food relationship thing, and when it comes to binges, I don't think they're inherently bad. Obviously, if you're getting ready for show day, then there's a bit of a mix up between your immediate desire and your long-term desires. But oh shit, where was I going with? I've just lost my train of thought. But anyway, you look at your life and take into consideration what process and what stage you are in life, and instead of just demonizing that binge, try and find out if there's a reason for that, or if there's a reason why maybe you're not hitting your macros before labeling it a bad or a deviant behavior. Because
like, what about that situation caused the problem? How can I make this, like, rather than like blocking it out like this didn't happen or this doesn't matter or whatever, like actually how can I be better about this in the future? That just reminded me of something I was going to say earlier, Jack, when you were talking about how the end of like diet period is harder than or when you finish is harder than sort of throughout. It's another big component of that is you like lose the goal that you're striving towards. So writing down, like you were saying, like, oh, I want to get stronger, I want to have more energy, things like that, rather than sort of attaching yourself to how lean you are, and that being the goal could be really, really useful, because then what you're doing is pursuing that next goal. And like that's why I think I found the whole like post-show transition and gaining body fat easy, if that makes sense. Like I was scared to eat things that were off plan, but I wasn't worried about gaining body fat because I come out of a position that was like, oh yeah, I have no muscle, right? We probably need to sort this one out. And that's going to require gaining some body fat.
Yeah, I normally, when I'm coming out of like a dieting phase, I've got some idea of, you know, I'll look objectively at my physique and kind of be like, what would I like to develop more? And that's what I'll be thinking about, or kind of lifts that I'd like to run up. That, you know, that's what I'm thinking about when I'm, you know, eating my food. When I'm seeing that scale weight rise and I see a big jump, I'm like, you know what? If I wake up and I'm going to bench that day like a bit of a bro, and I see our scale weights up a little bit, I might be like, oh, you know what? Maybe recovery is going to be in a fantastic spot. I'll probably take a decent progression today, you know, and that's the way that I think about it, is like, oh, there's going to be some good growth here. Talking about the shelves, I think I'm more along the lines of John, where, to be honest, like on my shelves and in my kitchen, I just keep everything that's relative to me. And like I eat every day. I tend not to just like have an untracked meal that's just like, I fancy this thing. Probably the main thing that I'll do is when I go shopping, which is like once a week, I might pick myself up a treat. I might be like, you know what, I fancy a chocolate bar or a crisps or whatever. And I might have that on top of my untracked meal, and I'll just eat that. Particularly in the gaining phase, going over by like one chocolate bar isn't that bad. And then I'm not keeping that in the house. I just kind of eat it, it's gone. But I'm not really a big fan of like keeping it in. I'm not a big fan of like keeping it in my house, because it just means that I'll eat it at some point, and yeah, I don't see a major benefit. But say if I was sharing my fridge with my girlfriend and she put ice cream, I wouldn't be too fussed, you know.
Yeah, I remember something that I did on prep was literally like I just had one cupboard, like I just had my cupboard, because then you go in there and all you see is your stuff. It's like, oh, these are the things that I have. Whereas if I was to go in this cupboard here, that's got my mum's and my sister's chocolate and biscuits and stuff in. Oh, that's probably going to look pretty appealing when you're very hungry. Whereas you forget it's there, like out of sight, out of mind, the door's closed and all of that.
The biggest thing you can do is just focus on short-term versus long-term. Just be very sensible with things. Just be like, you know, chocolate and biscuits still have a place in my life. They might not have a place today, but they will have a place at some point. These are not evil foods. They are not foods that will hold me back from my progress. But for right now, for where I am, they do not suit me. But that doesn't mean that I won't have them, you know. and I think that's kind of the general mindset I try to have. And then if I'm going out to, like a social event, if it's just like I don't really want to prep food, that's normally when I'll just take my untracked meal, off-plan meal, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, so I've forgotten what my point was. I guess just take them in a more social situation. And I think for most people, like Luke said, when you've got the goal, when you've got the diet, it's easy to be like, no, I won't eat a Ben and Jerry's because I'd rather be shredded. But when you're eating, 300 calories higher and you're no longer getting shredded, maybe a Ben and Jerry's is now tempting because you're just as hungry. So reminding yourself of like, I'm here for the most progress. It doesn't have a place for me today, but it will have a place at some point this week.
Really, really weird tangent, but semaglutide.
Semaglutide?
Yeah.
Yeah, why?
Because I think it could be something that could be very like useful in that sort of post-diet, post-show phase.
Yeah.
Because you've just got that insatiable hunger.
Mm-hmm.
And it curbs that to some degree. I just think it could be interesting.
The thing
what is this? Could you enlighten me before you continue?
Me or Jack?
Luke, mate, you brought it up.
Fair. So it's a GLP-1 agonist. So it's
right, okay.
which is something which is, I believe, is like secreted when you eat food and basically makes you, yeah, bro, you're good, you're full, you don't need to eat anymore.
Yeah, it's what's the phrase? Ghrelin secretor, something like that. Basically, yeah, like it's regulates your hunger, your ghrelin and your leptin and how full you feel. And when you've been in a crazy diet, they're going to be out of whack and your appetite's going to be infinite. I remember because I was looking into it because Liam was like, well, maybe you could look into it for after your mini cut. But in my opinion, I would rather practice and mess up and kind of not rely on something for like that. I think, if you're relying on using an external compound to control your appetite so that you don't binge because, you can't trust your hunger, then I don't know, it's just a bit iffy to me. I'd rather have a bit of a better skill set and balance and be able to be like, I'm hungry, but it's okay, but I can still eat this and that, and
it sort of seems to be a similar argument with the use of melatonin as a supplement. Instead of just getting a right sleep schedule and limiting screen time and maybe keeping caffeine a certain amount of hours away from when you go to sleep, it's a cheap alternative, but in the long run, it's definitely not cheap. And the self-efficacy part, like what's better, is a short-term monetary option, or is there that long-term self-efficacy which could build onto other things? As
semaglutide definitely ain't cheap either. That's very spenny. Have we got anything else we want to run over or go over even? Let's not run people over. That would not be ideal.
I'm looking through. What's it like living with a micro penis, Luke? That's a good question that we've got here.
That one was from Dan, wasn't it?
No, that's from me.
Oh, okay, fair. I can ask Miriam to chime in on that one. She's sat just across me.
Yeah, we could do that. I've got another one here that she might be able to answer.
Oh yeah, what's that one?
Is Luke able to suck himself off within his activity?
I saw that one. They were debating that on Bro Chat the other week when I was listening. They were like, is it gay or not?
From I can't remember. There's an old saying, and I can't remember. I've heard so many people say it. I don't know who the fuck said it. The old saying goes, if you suck your own dick, it's closer to sucking a dick than it is getting your dick sucked. I just remember, like, whenever anyone would bring up that argument, people, like, at that topic, people just say that. They'd be like, the old saying. So if there's any viewers at home who could chime in, that would be fantastic. We'd like to know, this is an educational podcast. So
Definitely not within my active range though.
is it even within your passive?
Yeah,
Did you get squashed?
I don't think so, man.
No,
No.
he can conk out.
My lower back hasn't got the capabilities for that big man.
3-plate RDL, but can't suck himself off. That's a real tragedy. Okay.
I hate you both.
All of these questions are really, really short. I guess we could say, oh, how about this one? Dream physiques and aspirations. It's quite cute. John?
We sort of talked about this in the group chat the other day, with what physiques we kind of find desirable.
Yeah.
Dream physique, sort of Lee Haney. That would be my sort of dream physique, or Sergio Olivia.
Derek Lunsford or Samson Dada.
Derek Lunsford. Interesting. I'd say Dorian or Hollingshead. I'm a real British boy. What can I say?
That 10-plate Cybex was ridiculous.
Oh my god, bro. James is scary strong, like genuinely. The man's a fucking weapon.
Ludicrous behaviour.
How do you even hack squat after that? Like 10 plates per side, tempo on a Cybex hack. You've done it. You've completed hack squats. Like, where do you go from there? Scary. And then I guess if we've covered dream physiques and I guess like dream aspirations, so people that we look up to in terms of lifestyle or kind of what they do, and you know, where do we want to be?
Oh, it's got to be the egg, bro.
The egg, yeah.
Big Christian Chapman, yeah, he's a legend.
Fair. John?
Definitely not smart enough, but like a Dr. Mike type deal.
You know that guy in the background on your poster reminds me of Dr. Mike.
I wish it was Dr. Mike. It would be a lot more inspirational if it was.
Oh, it would be so good.
That would be so fucking funny.
Should I next gaff? We're just going to get a massive printout of Dr. Mike's face.
He'd definitely make that, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
I might have
I mean, like the t-shirts he sells are just like so good.
What, the full ROM ones, or does he have his own?
Yeah, there's the Pornhub themed one that's like full ROM. There's the anti-social social club one, which is like anti-partial lifting club. There's.
Did you boys ever see like the old JME t-shirt where it was just his face across the entire t-shirt? I feel like look it up real quick. I think whoever listens to this must know what I'm talking about. But JME used to have this t-shirt. It was just his face like across the sleeve. Yeah. That of like Dr. Michael Jared, I think, would be like an elite t-shirt.
That's jokes. I'll rate that. Dream, like people I look up to, aspirations. I think I'm going to go a little bit different with this one. I think maybe Nick Gloff or John Jewett. Reason being, Christian is a fantastic coach, but I feel like he's at that point where he definitely could be doing a lot less work than he is, but he likes to do a lot of work. I take my coaching very seriously, but I wouldn't want to ever get to the point where I'm sleeping like 6 hours a night and working like 18 hours a day, kind of like Cal Raystrick. And I'd still like to be very much like on top of myself and my own bodybuilding career. So I think kind of Nick Gloff I view as someone who has like, he still puts a lot of time into his coaching, but it's slightly better balanced. John Jewett, I think, has a really good balance between, you know, his own coaching and his own career.
He PTs as well, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think that's kind of where I'd like to be, like a really high level coach who, you know, puts a lot of time into his business, but equally has enough time for himself and the people around him. And from the external, the way that I see the egg, that's not quite the balance I'd like to have. The same for Kuba. Like looking at him, I think his lifestyle I wouldn't enjoy. It's just relentless.
What about AJ? Would you say the same?
Similar thing. It's just like, it is just like living and breathing absolutely everything. And like, I think you can live it and breathe it, but still like, I still want to have like some bit of flexibility, like James does. Like James still like, he plays a bit of games, he goes out a little bit. He probably has a bit too much free time for me. I'd probably drive myself nuts, but somewhere in there.
Just on John, so does he, I'm guessing he like PT's pros?
I'm not entirely sure. I don't know if he does it anymore, but when I used to follow his
Definitely does,
YouTube
yeah.
channel, I know he would like a lot of the clips he would upload would be him in between personal training sessions. So I don't know if he PT's pros or not, but that'd be interesting to know if he does, because that would be
probably athletes. I don't know about pros. I'm sure he does, but like
Yeah.
I'm not sure if they're all pros. But definitely, I would imagine he only PTs athletes. He's probably very expensive.
Yeah, the reason that I like said Christian there would be because he's like somebody that I know, if that makes sense.
Oh, he's
Whereas
a
like
sound guy and an amazing coach.
like all of those
Definitely.
other people are like very
Yeah, yeah.
do you know, I don't know, like far away, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, 100%. Christian's very down to earth. He's like, you send him a message, he'll respond quickly. You know, he's like still very much like down to earth, and he's still
he
like
wants Luke to get his cock out, I believe.
Yeah,
One
exactly.
clip
Yeah,
he
that
uploaded.
was
Yeah.
that is on Instagram, to be fair. So that
And
is
then
a
you
true
think,
statement. Yeah.
Can Christian suck himself off within his active range? Because from what I can tell, it's very much within his active range. Very easy. It's a partial rep to him, actually.
This is slander.
He's gonna love that. He's not gonna listen. He's gonna love
Yeah,
that.
he would love that, to be fair.
Exactly,
He would love
yeah.
that. Right. This episode is going downhill. Wrap it up.
Right. Thank you all for listening. What have we talked about so far? Well, we've talked about where we don't know Dan is. We've talked about
Why deloads are overrated.
Yeah,
how
why
to
you should never
improve your
deload.
relationship with food, and is your relationship with food overrated?
If there's
and
anything you've learned,
why you need to gain body fat.
is that you should
And-
never deload, and you should train exactly like Chris Bumstead, and you will get the best results ever. That's what everyone should take away from this podcast.
And if you can't
And that
suck your
Jack
dick
needs to
within
hire a
active
cleaner.
ROM,
Wait, what was that, John?
if you can't suck your dick within like active ROM, you have to do it now. It's
Yeah,
official.
you need
It's-
to improve your mobility. Clearly, get the hip flexors firing, bit more, spinal flexion. You need to practice that clearly. And also, I'm now officially looking for a cleaner. So if anyone wants to come in and clean my room, I'll pay you 5K. I think that's quite fair for the amount of, $5,000 to whoever wants to come in and clean my room.
Do they get free primo, or is that somewhere else?
Free primo? No, bro. That's like 15 grand a bottle. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, just like a small woman comes in, like a cleaner, like an old frail woman, and I'm just like, she's like, "Where's my money?" And I'm like, "Here's a bottle of primo. That's like 40 quid."
No, you just pin her. Send her on her
Just
way.
primo, just primo. Can you
Oh,
imagine?
oh my
Fucking
days.
hell.
Yeah,
Right.
shot.
That's spot on the hour, boys.
No, it's not.
I mean, it is,
Oh,
because we started at 58. So,
Well,
fuck.
fucking hell.
See you. Bye.